Welcome, Global 2 students from CSAT. We're talking a lot with people about what other ways you would like to get your review. Podcast doesn't seem to be taking off so hot, but many people have told me that they want to try and learn through our YouTube review. Somehow, looking at this face while listening to words coming out of this mouth is going to equal better grades for some of you, and I am all in on that. This review is for Global 2 students. We have our 3-day imperialism test coming up. Inside of the test, you will have 15 multiple choice and an enduring issues essay. Okay. And I'll say at the beginning of this that with the multiple choice for a lot of them, if you could pick the one that doesn't match the other three, you will be just fine. But we'll review all of the material. And then if anybody wants me to do a YouTube review where I go through exactly how to write the enduring issue essay over the next couple days, leave something in the comment section. All I need is one student to do it, and I'll be happy to show you how to write it. With that being said, let's go into the Global 2 Imperialism Unit Review. Remember, the definition for imperialism is when a more advanced country takes over a less advanced country for their natural resources. The three major countries for that are going to be Africa, India, and China. And many of them are going to have similar stories with similar events, but I'll go through each one of those places individually. Let's start with Africa. You're going to begin your test by taking a look at a huge map of Africa. It's going to be split up into different sections. And on this map of Africa, you're supposed to know why the map of Africa was split up so differently. The reason for that is an event in history known as the Berlin Conference. In Europe, European leaders met together with a map of Africa and they decided to split it up, chop it up. And as they chop it up, they do so without any knowledge of African countries, so that when Europeans come in and invade Africa, they're able to split it up based on resources. Okay? And the Berlin Conference is going to allow European leaders to organize themselves so that they can conquer Africa effectively for those natural resources. Now, it's important to note that although Europeans controlled most of Africa, they did not control all of Africa. There's other stories inside of there where some African countries were able to acquire European military technology and defend themselves, but Europeans will control most of Africa, not all of it. To reiterate, African countries were divided up during the Berlin Conference. Europeans were able to control most of Africa, and because of that, Europeans will colonize Africa for their natural resources. A major effect of this are the emotional feelings of African people. They will resent Europeans. And the word resentment means like a strong dislike for. So Africans are going to grow this resentment or this strong dislike for Europeans who come in and try to change their entire culture. A big reason for Europeans wanting to change African culture is this idea of the white man's burden. You remember White Man's Burden? It was written by an author named Rudyard Kipling, same guy who made the Jungle Book. And in it, he said, Europeans and white people have a duty to civilize natives of these countries of China, India, and the continent of Africa. And when we civilize all of these natives, it will give us a good reason to imperialize them. What it's going to do is give Europeans a point of view that imperialism is okay. It's okay for Europeans to support imperialism because we're helping to improve the lives of these countries that they're taking over. Now, you'll see words in there like lower races. And what it's going to do is also promote this idea of ethnocentrism, the idea that one race is more superior than another race. And ethnocentrism is going to help encourage the white man's burden and the conquering of these other lands for their natural resources. Hot dog, that's a good start. We have two other places to go through, and then this quick review of the multiple choice will be all done. The next place is India. India, and you're going to see these large documents from people who were part of the Indian government, and they give their point of view on what they believe European imperialism was like. Now, For these people who were in control of the Indian government, it's going to be super negative. Sorry, I can't help. It's going to be very negative. They're going to believe that the British destroyed Indian businesses. And it's going to be true. British are going to come over, they're going to take over their textiles or clothing, they're going to build railroads, they're going to build schools, they're going to do all these nice things like build new hospitals with great medicine, but there's going to be a problem. The Indian people won't have any control over it. They won't even have access to all of it. What they are going to do is push Indian business out. They're going to control who they sell to, and it's only going to be profitable for British people. Now, the major cause of this is also the same as the cause of the Berlin Conference. It's going to be the cause of the Opium Wars in China. It's the Industrial Revolution. Because of the Industrial Revolution, Great Britain, other European countries are going to want to use natural resources to make a profit in their factories. So, know that because of the Industrial Revolution, Great Britain will come into India, they will push out native Indians, and they will try and make a better world for Great Britain, but not for native Indians. The last one, China. China will engage in the opium wars with Great Britain. Opium, of course, being the drug of choice that many Chinese people enjoyed. It will make them sloth-like, it will make them slow and lethargic. What will eventually happen is that as Great Britain pushes this drug on the Chinese people, they push the drug on them and they will slowly be able to infiltrate the Chinese government. This is going to lead to the Treaty of Nanjing. It can also be pronounced Nanking, depending on how you want to say it. But this treaty is going to allow the British to come into China, and it's going to allow them to control their trade. Now, this is a really big deal. One major effect of this is that it's going to end Chinese isolation. China had been isolated for a long time, and because of this isolation, the Chinese believed they were better than everyone else. However, they had fallen behind with technology. They didn't have the military weapons needed to assert this type of isolation that they wanted to. In the treaty, Great Britain is going to get control of an island. The name of the island is Hong Kong. This is also important for trade. Islands are great for trade because they allow so many goods to come in and to leave and to sell and gain profits for. This is going to be a major loss for the Chinese government. The biggest reaction to this is going to be the Boxer Rebellion. And if you remember this, the Boxers were a group of Chinese people who wanted to end foreign influence. They wanted to push the Chinese out. However, they did not have the advanced military technology needed in order to do that. Long story short, imperialism is going to be a major win for Europeans. They are going to get more natural resources. They are going to gain control over other colonies around the world. And because of the Industrial Revolution, they're going to be able to make these huge advancements that only benefit them. If you have any questions about this, know that I'll still be doing an Instagram review. Know that I'll still be putting up my post-it notes on Instagram with the live review. But if you do want the review where I show you how to write the Enduring Issues essay, you're going to need to leave me a comment. You're going to need to find me in school or whatever I could do to help you out. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this. It's a new way to learn for all of us. And leave any feedback you got for me underneath. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope you all do great on the test.